Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Papa Joe with the Papa Joe Show, where Papa Joe knows. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it as always. First things first, like, subscribe, share the video, share it out right now, and you might get some other people in here live while we're going through it with you, and you guys can have a conversation in the chat. Lots of people kind of do that, and it gives an opportunity to create kind of a community with myself and you guys, and we can all kind of talk through what's going on in the world and my take on current events. Sorry about that. I need to move the camera there. But anyways, yeah. So first thing first, yeah, like, subscribe, share. And I'm gonna get some coffee. So also, scroll on the bottom of the screen here, join the Patreon show. Patreon show, it's $5 a month. Really, all it is just a way to keep the trolls out, and it gives me an ability to have a conversation with you all around my take on things happening, and I can really speak my mind without having the concern of it being pulled down for any reason, or my show being pulled down for any reason. So, anyways, yep, really appreciate you guys all being here today. So, with that, we have seen in the past few days a lot of information around cryptocurrencies and the SEC and the hearing with the Senate and stuff like that. So there's no such thing as too much coffee. That's funny. Coffee is amazing. My wife always makes this amazing coffee. I actually had to run up and grab some earlier. She usually brings me down coffee for my shows and whatnot. So she's really busy. We home educate our kids. Well, she home educates our kids. She does an amazing job with it too. I am an intensely blessed man just to have her in my life, and how she's done an amazing job doing that. She really knows what she's doing. It's actually fantastically beautiful to watch her do what she does. So, but anyways, so back to the SEC, the entire hearing was primarily focused on cryptocurrencies, but there was other stuff in there like human capital that they were bringing up. I'm sitting here kind of going, human capital, that's a new one. What the heck? What are they going to define human capital as? I guess as workers working in the workplace. We're not a commodity. As humans, we're not a commodity. We're people. We're humans. They can't count us as some sort of thing to be counted towards a goods or services. I mean, we create the goods and services. There is no, our output does. This is where it goes back to taxation. Again, this is not financial advice, not tax advice, not legal advice. Technically, income tax is taxation, is theft. Because that is a tax of your actual output and the earnings you are receiving for trading your physical time in your life for that stuff. At the end of the day, yep. If you really only knew. Again, I've mentioned it in my shows in the past. You've got to read the book called The Creature from Jekyll Island by Gilbert Griffin. It really goes into how this all works. I also have on my website, Aster Blockchain Consulting. I don't have it here, but I can pull it up here. It'll scroll across the screen here for a minute there. Under the resources tab, I have a video series from Mike Maloney. It discusses banking. Very good detail on what happens. There's lots of visual to help tie in the discussion around how it works. He's against crypto in the beginning of the series, but does an entire show towards the end, one of the last shows or video series that he does to discuss blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, distributed ledger technology, and is now a big proponent of it. And actually, he does hold cryptocurrency. So, resources tab. I got permission to have that on my website. Very worth the time to watch that. It's a 10-part series. I don't think he's added anything to it, but did a really good job with those. But anyways, coming back to the SEC, it really kind of just sitting there. They put out these public questions, and I don't even know where the public forums are to go answer or throw the concerns out or to comment on what they're doing with cryptocurrency and, at the end of the day, blockchain technology. They don't know what they're doing with it. They're good for innovation, and they're trying to make the innovation take place, and foster that and all that stuff. But if you listen to them, they don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to take a technology that has value and call it a security. I mean, they're firing here. I'll actually pull it up here. I have it up somewhere right here. I don't know if that's the right one or not. Here it is. Effectively, they're saying that the dozens of tokens might be securities. They don't know what they're talking about. It's crazy to think about how these monetized tokens are technologically advanced to the point to where you have a public and private key, and they're designed to actually give you control inside of a blockchain ecosystem. Bitcoin, Litecoin, things like that, things that are designed to actually be a means of exchange or a store of value, those are maybe can be construed as securities. But the thing is, nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. They're not going to know either. It's a pseudonym for a reason. It's a group of people who helped build it, but the actual person who launched it, no one knows who that is. Or people, group, whatever. No one's a clue, and there's a reason for that. I have a feeling of who it is. I actually kind of agree with Bix Weir on this one, where he thinks Alan Greenspan may be Satoshi. But I could see that because of his technical background. I could see that. A lot of people don't realize this. Alan Greenspan was a gold bug before he was asked to be the chairman of the Fed. I think he was the chairman of the Fed. Was it the chairman of the Fed, or was it the yeah, he was the chairman of the Fed. And he was a computer programmer. His college mate created the Bash program that we use in Apple and Linux, and Bash is a shell, effectively, that gets used for entering commands into the system to directly interact with the actual underlying programming language of the operating system. And sorry, I have an itch on my hand here. For those of you who don't know, I have eczema. It doesn't go away, and sometimes it really itches. So I apologize if I just turn up all of a sudden just start scratching. Anyways, but no, nope, had to stream. If you think about how they have no clue what they're talking about and how they're attacking, and then a lot of the questions that the senators had made very little sense as to what the outcome would eventually be and what they're going to push him to go and do. They're scared of losing control of the masses from a monetary perspective, because all of those senators have handlers. Those handlers are all bankers in some form or fashion. They are controlled or affiliated with some sort of banking institution. Do you understand? I did a show on my Patreon. That's why I was like, join the Patreon. I talk about different things on there that I would not talk about out here, just because of the nature of them. I went over a little bit of monetary history, but more of a history on banking, and then went over some aspects of, and I really barely scratched the surface. I went on some aspects of how those banking cartel, I call them cartel because that's what they are. They own everything. Part of the reason you haven't heard of them is because they own the media publications. They own the oil. They own the food. They own transportation. They own everything you can think of that you use on a day-to-day basis. It will somehow always trickle back to a nested company somewhere else that they own. I'm not kidding. And I actually covered a lot of that in that show. So join the Patreon. It's $5 a month. Even if you go in there and like watch the videos and then just leave, whatever, I don't care. Really, the point is just to keep the trolls out. Is they're not going to pay $5 to go and scrutinize a video, and it also puts that firewall there for me to be able to say what I want to say. But anyways, the senators are demanding that cryptocurrency regulation be set up. This guy doesn't know a lot about cryptocurrency. He's made a lot of money in the stock market. He's made a lot, and he's done it correctly and fairly and everything, just as most of the senators have. But most of the senators are also bought and paid for. One of the senators even brings up a donor wanting him to do something. He needs that money for his campaign, so he's going to go and take care of that person or that company or that organization above his. He didn't say this, but you could tell he'd do it above his constituents. They're afraid of us, the masses, waking up to the fact that Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, circumvents their control. When the control that they think that they have over you is gone, you're free. We're debt slaves, folks. I hate to say it, we're debt slaves. The way that the system is designed is so that way, and a lot of people don't know this. Everyone's like, they're talking about, where is it? I'll bring this up here in a second. This $3.5 trillion extra infrastructure bill. You know where that You know where that $3.5 trillion is going to come from? It's not coming from the coffers at the Treasury. There are no coffers at the Treasury. It's going to come directly from the Federal Reserve Bank. Did you know that? Most of you don't. They aren't taking our tax dollars and spending them. We don't produce enough tax dollars to even get 1 trillion in there. I mean, maybe we do, but we really don't. Our tax dollars. So, I'll back up. The Congress will borrow that money and then they'll spend it. What most people don't realize is that as soon as they borrow that money from the Federal Reserve, it immediately, day one, has interest slapped to it. Granted, it's not a lot of interest, but the moment you realize the amount of interest that dollar amount is huge. Your tax dollars go to pay the interest on that debt. We have long passed the ability for our tax dollars to actually cover the interest rates, which is why the interest rates are so low and why they're next to zero and why they will probably go negative. You need to understand that the way that the system is designed was eventually to run out. Every single fiat system in the world in history has 100% of the time failed. Look at the Weimar Republic. Just a perfect example. Look at Venezuela. That's recent times. Do you realize that? I mean, go look at El Salvador now. They're flourishing. They just started coming back out of the hole, which is amazing for them. It really is. Now, they've got other things going on from a political standpoint that's not exactly right, cohesive, etc. But from a monetary perspective, they're trying really hard to pull themselves out of the hole. And with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, they'll be able to. Biden he's already made some serious problems, some serious upheavals with what happened in Afghanistan. Do you know that $1.2 trillion of the infrastructure bill is actually for roads, bridges, clean water, power grids, etc.? And then the $2.5 trillion is for things that are like, I don't know. Where is it here? It shows about it somewhere. I don't remember where it was. It talks about how it's for like paid leave at home, paid college, free college for everyone, things like that. Education already is free. Go to the internet and look it up and learn yourself. If you have a problem, you want to solve it, Google it. Go to YouTube and watch how to do it. I regret going and getting my degree. I have a degree. I regret it. It was a waste of time. I now have a piece of paper that says I know IT. I help my professors teach some of their classes. I didn't need to go to school. I didn't learn anything that I did not already learn in the real world working a job. And unfortunately, the system is designed, again, in every way to keep you in debt. Cryptocurrency is your way out. I'm not trying to give you financial advice, but cryptocurrency is the only way out. It is a chance for humanity to have freedom from this construction or this construct of banking and governmental control around you as a human, as an individual person. And what scares them the most is that they don't know what it is. They don't know how to do it, and they won't talk to people like me who do. Or if they do talk to people like me, they won't listen. They're so stuck in their ways. They think they're going to have their control. They're going to push this stuff in there. They're going to push it out. Well, guess what? While I don't like this company, I use their device, but I put my own operating system on it. You understand that when a company like this partners with an NFT leader or any kind of blockchain environment, that it's not a joke, it's not fake, it is real. So many of friends throughout my life, some agree with me in it, are full on with this. I have friends who are majorly in this more so than I am. I have other friends who are like, you're crazy, that you've absolutely lost your mind. It's not real. It's going to die. It's a fad, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. It is an apex commodity, not commodity. It's an apex asset, called asset, because it's money. It's a currency. It's like cash. It's also like gold, where it's a store of value. It's also like property, where it's a store of value. It's also a means of exchange for commerce, e-commerce, regular commerce, etc. Its value is that it is decentralized and distributed. Its value is that it's a limited supply, and it is a automatic reduction of supply every 4 years for Bitcoin. And then Litecoin, I think, is also every 4 years, but other ones are different. Like the Divi project, they're probably, I don't know if they've done it yet, but they're about to go through a burn. They're about to actually burn some of, I think, 10% of their coins. So whenever you look at that and you think about how this reduction of supply, or like the recent Ethereum implementation, it's burned a lot of the Ethereum that's available out there, creating a liquidity crisis in some people's minds. No, it's just cutting the supply while the demand stays the same and or increasing the value of it. Scarcity creates value. Difficulty to obtain creates value. And all those things cryptocurrency has for the most part. Things like XRP doesn't. It's an unlimited supply and it will go on forever. It's a banker's coin. I will not touch it. Sure, I may be leaving money on the table, but on principle. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, I'm a man of principle. I won't touch it because I do not believe in what it has. I do not like who is behind it. I don't like what it's about. I just don't. Things like EOS, things like Ethereum, yeah, doesn't make sense. Things like a Cardano or ADA, that makes sense. Things like Polygon, that's a really cool project. They're solving real world problems, like I mentioned before. Or Ambrosis, they're solving real world problems. Look for projects that make sense to you, that solve real world problems, and then enjoy what they do. Support what they do. That's up to you. That is, I'm not financial advice, not legal advice, not tax advice. All of this is educational and entertainment purposes only. That can be funny, right? Maybe. Not really. Also something like this. Another major banking institution looking into cryptocurrency. They can hold banks. Was it NYDIG that can hold that is help working with Fidelity to actually, or a branch of Fidelity to make it so that businesses, so that banks can actually go and hold cryptocurrency? Did you know that? Yeah. They can now, they will soon be able to hold your cryptocurrency in the bank because the dollar value is literally below zero. Have you not noticed the cost of things recently? I think within the next 5, maybe 10 years, I think that's seriously conservative. That you're going to see people working for 1, 2, 3, 5 Satoshis an hour. Satoshi is the smallest denomination of a Bitcoin. Each Bitcoin can be divided into 100 million parts. Everyone's like, there's not enough to go around. There's only 21 million. Divide it by 100 million, and there's plenty to go around. And those of you who hold a whole one, half of one, a quarter of one, do you realize that you have an opportunity right now like no other, like nothing in history? The banks are freaking out because they don't have control anymore. They see this coming, and they're behind the curve. You are your own bank when you hold your cryptocurrency, or if you use a third-party custodian like Viva Capital to hold your cryptos. They're just holding them for you, but they're yours. Leaving them on an exchange like Coinbase shuts down when the price fluctuates by 10 grand. You don't own them in Coinbase. There are safe ways to do this, safe ways to keep things protected. Just be smart. Fidelity, again, holds a private meeting with the SEC to talk about an exchange-traded fund or an ETF for Bitcoin. I'm all for an ETF if the underlying asset is what is being held in the ETF and traded. If they're going to do derivatives in the ETF, this is pointless. This is something that's different. Stock is issued from a business in an arbitrary paper format. Bitcoin is not that way. There is a digital representation of it. It is a digital creation of it in an entire distributed and decentralized ecosystem that is held up by miners and people like you and me running nodes or mining equipment if you have it. They can't compete with that. If they set up an ETF that is using paper Bitcoin, the funny thing is that the on-chain transactions will circumvent that ETF, and the value will not be controlled by paper or arbitrary numbers on a screen in an ETF. If they use the underlying asset, it will make sense. Fidelity, I don't know if this is their overall holdings or what. I don't know why that 4.2 trillion is there. I think it's just an eye catcher. But if they set up, well, if they're going to put $4.2 trillion into Bitcoin, holy crap, you better hold on tight. Elon Musk or Tesla Labs or whatever it is, they bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, and the price jumped like $15,000. So I'm probably wrong on that number, but it jumped a lot is what I'm getting at. And I know of, last I checked, there was approximately $20 billion sitting in stable coins, so like USDC. So it's already in crypto. So 1.5 billion moved it a lot. How much do you think 20 billion is going to move it? How much do you think that's going to move it? If that's at all what they're talking about doing. You get it yet? Do you get how important this is for you and your future and my future and everyone's future and the freedom of humanity? This all ties together in so many ways. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a freedom choice for humanity to be able to go and decide, do I want to have freedom with what I buy and sell? Do I want to have freedom in what I choose to do with my life? And have the control that I should have that's been given to me by our Creator. Just, you're going to have to use it eventually, whether you do it now or not, because the entire system, obviously the banks are moving towards it now. Hang on. Sorry. Somebody pinged me about something here. It's the decision at the end of the day is yours. Please do your own research. Schedule some time with me if you want to talk and learn something. I've mentioned it here. I do consulting stuff. The Aster Blockchain Consulting there. If you want to do consulting, or if you want to have a consult, we can talk. I can teach you and educate you. I can explain ins and outs of all this stuff. I've been in it since almost the beginning. I'm a technologist. I have more than 19, 20 years, somewhere in that ballpark, of information technology experience. Basically, I know what I'm talking about with this. And I thoroughly enjoy researching and have really studied banking. I've really studied some law around economics, stuff like that as well. I'm no banker. I'm no financer, whatever. I'm no professional in regards from that legally standpoint. But just like I said before, you don't really necessarily need to go to college. You can go learn anything you want. Just search for it. You'll be able to find the documents, the same books they make you read in college. You can go read them. Just because you didn't take a test to prove that you know it doesn't, and then have some piece of paper saying, yep, that person knows what they're talking about. You can look it up yourself. You can do your own research. Critical thinking needs to come back to this country. You need to learn how to think for yourself. Learn how to find things for yourself. You need to learn how to take care of you and your family, and look at cryptocurrency as a method of freedom for you guys, for everyone. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. Join the Patreon show at 4:30 every day Eastern. I try to do a Patreon show where I discuss different topics that are sometimes crypto-bented, but sometimes they're not. Like the other day, I did one specifically on banking. And I did another one on the Constitution, the constitutionality of what recently transpired with the magic potion that everyone's being told they have to have or whatever. Actually had to... There's lots of stuff that I want to cover on there. Just as time permits, I'll be able to. I'm going to try and get specific information on there around, or I'll do interviews and stuff like that with people, and I'll have it on there. Things, stuff like that. So, anyways, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you guys this afternoon. You guys all be blessed.